Back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I'd like to start by thanking all my subscribers, my viewers, for all your kind comments, for your support, for your kindness, the passion you'll have in getting justice for Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Zana. May they rest in peace, condolence to their families. I'd like to give a big shout out to Outcast. He has a nice channel on YouTube. He comes late on in the night. Outcast deals with this case. He lets you share your opinion. Great person, kind, promotes all the YouTube creators. We need to do the same for him. Step up for each other. I guess I'd like to give a big shout out to my lovely friend, Bianca. Bianca made me Baby Huda that everyone loves. Bianca's just creative. I couldn't have wished for a better Baby Huda than the one Bianca made for me. Love you, Bianca, for that. Bianca's always been one of our first subscribers in this channel. She has a YouTube channel too. I'll try and put up the link. She makes creative music in this case. And she's just creative. So I'd love to thank her, and I'd love to thank, I love and shout out to Real Eyes Analyze Denise, a great friend of mine. Love you, have respect for you, Denise. Thanks for all your help in this case. I love to thank my subscribers once again, because, to be honest, when people leave beautiful comments and say that I have a good eye in catching things, it's not only me. I couldn't have done it by myself. My subscribers point out things to me. At times I don't get to those comments, but I need to start reading more, because many of my subscribers have given me excellent tips. And that is how I kind of discover, that's how I kind of focus on certain things. This case has obviously taken a lot from us. I mean, energy, sleep, appetite, a lot of things. As a therapist, as a licensed mental health therapist, I see that, and I have started to do some self-reflection. That's the reason I'm not making many clips these days, because to be honest, there's not much to make unless they bring out new reports, which I usually do, like Jack D's interview, Bethany Funke's interview, Hunter's interview, and DM's interview. I've analyzed all those ones. The one that really bothers me is Jack D, and everyone knows that. I have nothing personal against a young man. I just have something personal against someone when their story doesn't line up. This is about 4 victims brutally unalived. Kaylee was one of them. It seems like Kaylee had a stalker. That's what we've been told the whole time. From the beginning, in my personal opinion, the police have never taken it serious with Kaylee having a stalker. They debunked that because they said there were 2 guys who were following Kaylee when she was near the mall or something, and nothing came out of it. But I want to know why the police hasn't taken the professor that put out a concern report for Jack D. Jack D's own professor was worried for him. And the professor said that he was worried because of the breakup Jack D had with Kaylee. Now that is important. Such things as a licensed mental health counselor I focus on, because change of behavior is important. People are not always the same. You're not the same every day. There are times in your life that things can go down, especially when it's a relationship. When you're in love, that age, 20, 19, when things don't seem to go your way. And 5 years on and off is a long time that Jack D had that affair or had a relationship, with Kaylee. Now Kaylee decided to break up with Jack D. It's confirmed in the reports. It was Kaylee who broke up. I've been watching Kaylee's accounts from the beginning, and I could always see that Kaylee wasn't following Jack D. It was Jack D who was following her. I wonder why Jack D wasn't on social media good terms with Kaylee, if that makes sense. It looked like Kaylee was avoiding Jack D. Now that becomes an issue. That is more like DV cases. I'll give you an example. If y'all remember Gabby Petito, Gabriela Petito. When Gabby was struggling with Brian Laundrie, there were signs there that people should have taken serious. Even the DV episode or the yelling episode that Brian Laundrie did in Wyoming in the restaurant, that should have been further looked at. It's sad that Gabby was unalived a couple of hours later, that same day. So there are signs that we're supposed to take serious. And I really believe that Kaylee was struggling with a stalker, whether it was Jack D, BK, or anyone else, for all it matters. Because if you pay attention to what Maddie told the vape shop manager, she said, we never leave Kaylee alone. We're always we surround Kaylee for her safety because Kaylee has a stalker. And that makes me believe that Kaylee was sleeping in Maddie's room because she was scared. She was being stalked. We've seen the picture where it's written 4chan OP at 3 a.m., 3:10 a.m. They were taking pictures of a blonde woman. My question is there cameras in this house? Were there cameras inside and outside the house? It's quite possible. When you see the light on the third floor, sometimes I wonder if a camera is inbuilt inside the light or if it's hidden inside the light. These days you can get cameras so small, literally small cameras. So my question is, where were all these people watching the pictures of Kaylee in the sitting position, unalived? It did look like Kaylee, and it was Saeed who was watching it. Saeed paid for his round of Venmos. He paid it to Jack Catavige. He paid it at 2:13. I remember the times by heart of those gone 3 years. Saeed is someone I've always said that needs to be investigated. So does Jovito, Hayden at the grub tub, and all these young people watching the pictures. The group yelling Zana. This should all be under evidence. Why would somebody be just yelling Zana's name? No, Zana, no. And let's go, Ethan. Why would they do that? The Vandals game was over and they lost. Let's not forget that. So I want to know what was exactly going on. Was there a camera? Was there someone inside the house recording? Maybe they had on a body cam, for all you know, while they were doing their evil deeds. Because you had to come literally close to the person to take the pictures we saw of Kaylee in the sitting position. We've seen pictures of people in masks and it's still being ignored. I really personally believe that Jack D is fingers are injured and they're black, like they've been burnt. I'm not saying he did something, but did they mess around with the evidence? Him and Jack D and DM have exactly the same scars or the same dark color on their nails and fingers. Both their fingers look damaged. Both of them are at the crime scene in the beginning. All these things makes me believe that Jack D and DM were involved. I'm saying it out there. They were involved, in my opinion. When I checked their hands and fingers, and especially, I'll never forget Jack D, his face was swollen. They're blurring out his face, but the first pictures we've seen that were going around, and they came from the college. Nowhere else but the college. We clearly saw that his fingers are damaged. What doesn't make sense to me is, let's go through this once again. DM says that she heard Kaylee yelling, "Somebody's here." Kaylee ran upstairs to the 3rd floor. And then Kaylee ran back downstairs to the 2nd floor. She never mentions Kaylee running upstairs again. So that makes me believe, obviously, that Kaylee should have landed downstairs. But that wasn't the case. Kaylee landed on Maddie's bed. So what was DM hearing? And if she is hearing all these things, shouldn't she have been calling 911? Why would Kaylee be dancing in the mess that we saw in the living room with her dog? That doesn't make sense. And how come we never hear about Maddie? That's another thing. BF was the only one who mentioned Maddie. She said, "Maddie came to my room. And we went out." She said, "I went out for 10 seconds with Maddie and Murphy the dog." She said she doesn't know what happened after that 10 seconds. Isn't that strange? So she doesn't know if Maddie came back inside with Kaylee. She doesn't know if Maddie disappeared. She doesn't know what happened to Maddie. Isn't that strange? So Maddie was out with Murphy. I've asked you all the question before, and I'm asking once again. If y'all remember the clip that was on my channel, and it's still in the beginning clips on my channel. Shout out to Chaos Sector. They do a lovely job, and I really respect Chaos Sector for using that clip to explain that Maddie's coat was thrown at the fire extension. And there was actually something in it, a weapon. At the same time, when you look at Showalter at the grub truck, he looks like he has some kind of weapon in his jacket. A long item. You can literally see the shape of it. And at the same time, you can see as something like a K-bar in his pant pocket. He's wearing a black pant and a brown jacket. Pay attention to that. I wonder when Maddie was walking Murphy the dog, if somebody called Murphy and Lord Murphy to Taylor Avenue. Maddie obviously was intoxicated, and she has a responsibility with the dog, so you don't think much when you're intoxicated. Maybe she ran after the dog and fell for the trap. Maybe they trapped Maddie because we saw a lot of different things in the bushes. We don't know yet what was in the bushes in Taylor Avenue. People are seeing legs, people are seeing hands. I see figures in the bushes clearly, and there is Maddie's jacket in the bush. So how did Maddie's jacket land in the bushes? I believe this has a lot to do with Murphy the dog. Poor Murphy wasn't barking. He was in Kaylee's room when the police came. He must have been traumatized, the little puppy. He must have seen too much. This was a brutal attack. Kaylee had 24 injuries, 24 pokes on her face. They poked her teeth, took out her teeth. Trigger warning. So this is literally someone who hated Kaylee, was jealous of Kaylee, wanted to take revenge on Kaylee. Let's not forget it was DM who called Kaylee to be a +1. Did you notice in the interview with Jack D, I didn't see much emotions. He just broke up with Kaylee 3 months ago, and his professor said that he was concerned. Wouldn't you cry? That's your ex-girlfriend. That's the girlfriend you just broke up with 3 months ago that you've been dating on and off for 5 years. He said that the vehicle he's using is the vehicle he borrowed from Kaylee's parents. So clearly Jack D has a lot to do with this family. Why didn't I see any tears from Jack D's side? I know they're shocked, but the shock does go eventually. He didn't even ask if Kaylee was alive or unalived. He didn't ask about Maddie. I found that quite strange, and his fingers look cut. Let me know what you all think, but I want you all to actually focus a bit on Maddie's jacket. I think we need to do that. Because Maddie's jacket, the long jacket, I think she borrowed it from Jack D apparently, or Shawalter. Whoever she borrowed the long jacket from, looks like it ended up in the fire, behind the fire extension. You could see even Taylor Parkhill, Ethan Knight, and Peter Reagan, the three boys on Banfield from Alpha Kappa Lambda. You can see them looking straight at the black jacket. The tall guy, Taylor, was even trying to kick it in, I think. He was trying to stamp on it. He didn't want the police to see it. So I really believe that Lord Murphy, Kaylee's dog, and then they trapped the girls. Jack D is lying about his timeline. 1:39 is when the picture was taken of him, Kaylee, and Maddie at the corner club. And he said he reached home at 1 o'clock. He fell asleep at 1:30. He couldn't have fallen asleep at 1:30 because 1:39 he was at the grub truck. So Jack D, if you're listening to me, you need to go change your timeline, because we have evidence and a timestamp that 1:39 you were at the corner club with Kaylee, Maddie. Every minute counts. It could have taken 5-10 minutes to unalive Kaylee. So where was Jack D, and why is he lying? Why did he get himself a lawyer? Why was his professor concerned? Jack D and DM and Hunter, in my opinion, no more. The dog was used to lure Maddie. Isn't it strange, when Maddie was walking Murphy and BF said she went out for 10 seconds with her, where was Kaylee? There was no mention of Kaylee, but I'm sure Maddie must have found Murphy, because according to DM, she says Murphy and Kaylee were dancing in the living room, and then they went upstairs, and then Kaylee ran downstairs again and said there's somebody here. What do you all think about that? I think DM is lying. DM's description of BF is Stefan Salvador, the actor from Vampire Diaries. Take a look at his bushy eyebrows, please, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. DM needs to be checked. Not only her nails, but everything else. She has taken pictures at 3:33 a.m. Let me know what you'll think about it. What do you think happened to Murphy? Was Murphy taken out of the house? Because let's not forget, Murphy had no DNA evidence, according to the police. So were they wearing gloves when they touched Murphy? And even if Murphy had DNA evidence of Hunter, Jack D, DM, or someone like that, they're just going to pass it off by saying they used to play with Murphy and look after him. I don't think this is a random person like BK who just came, unalive 4 people in such a brutal way, left the dog, left a witness who literally saw him, that's DM. DM even described the suspect to be a couple of inches taller than her or a couple of inches shorter than her. So she doesn't even know if the person was shorter than her. The description doesn't match BK. The car description doesn't match BK. Let me know what y'all think. And I think it's very interesting that Jack D said that he was going to get a sober driver to drive him home. You know the sober drivers, they sign up for sober drivers. David Barry signed up to be a driver that night, sober driver. So allegedly, Jack D saying he ordered for a sober driver. The sober driver did not come because he had many people in his car, and he was even stopped by the police, he said. I wonder if that sober driver is David B. David B was driving a white truck, if you remember. He drove a white truck, and he was driving towards the corner club, I think. We are not sure whose white truck that is, but I think that is what Jack D is talking about. So if he did not take a ride with the driver, he said a friend of mine came and gave me a ride. I wonder who that friend is, and I wonder why he's lying about his timeline. Why is he saying he fell asleep at 1:30 and came home at 1 o'clock? Jack D is lying about that. He's lying, and that needs to be investigated, because there's a screenshot of him, Maddie, Kaylee. He's sitting on the bar chair, and Maddie and Kaylee are standing around him. And then on the other side, you see Adam Lauder, and you see Jack Showalter and the guy who looks like Chief Fry. So that picture was taken at 1:39. This guy's lying with his timeline. There was 5 to 6 drops of red liquid found in Jack D's house, and there was bullet fragments found in his house. He said he picked up the phone for Kaylee. He said he can't remember picking up the phone, but the phone was on for 17 minutes. So I don't think while you're sleeping you can just hit the phone coincidentally and you pick up for someone. I find all this to be strange. The fact that he had to go get himself a lawyer makes me believe that his interview wasn't going well. Let me know, guys, what y'all think. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a lovely week.